But we've also got a very interesting voice join in who will perhaps have better handle on how the situation should be read into. We've got Brandt from EPFR Global joining in right now. Cameron, thank you so much for your time. And, like I was discussing with Prashant Khemka from Wider Capital, as if there was uncertainty in the world, and now you have this situation between India and Pakistan going on. And we've known historically that money always moves in a relative fashion, and that's why I guess for the last 1 month India was seeing inflows come in because there were a lot of things which were going right. Do you think now with the India-Pakistan situation that gets derailed, at least in the near term?
Diminished rather than derailed is what I would say. I've just been looking at the latest week's numbers, and while flows into dedicated India funds aren't quite as strong as they've been, they're still positive. What I've been picking up is that at least for the moment, investors and fund managers are putting more weight on the benefits to India of much cheaper oil than they are on what is or was, perhaps until the latest, about regarded as an border spat. But historically, things have to get pretty bad before investors really get chased out of a market. And while there'll certainly be more caution until this gets resolved, I don't think it's going to completely reverse the flows that sort of India funds and sort of Indian asset markets in general have seen in recent weeks.
All right, but Cameron, the other fact is that especially on the trade talks, we have seen that at least getting started now, because just yesterday a trade talk and a trade deal rather between US and UK has been announced. There is a possibility that maybe EU and India and even China, the talks will be on. Give us some sense that at least in this term, where are we headed? Is the worst behind us with respect to the tariff tantrum, and what could be the next with respect to the market and the reaction?
Well, given the current U.S. administration, never say never. But I actually think that a lot of investors who used President Trump's first term as a template have certainly been expecting that after the Sound and Fury, a somewhat more palatable midpoint would be reached. We've certainly seen fixed income investors recover their risk appetite over the past 3 weeks. Equity investors are still being somewhat cautious. It's not clear how much damage has been done and how much that damage will influence earnings for the remainder of the year. But certainly, when I look at flows to fixed income funds, junk bond funds, mortgage-backed funds, bank loan funds, and indeed emerging markets bond funds, all of those are starting to see money again after a pretty sharp hiatus in early.
Cameron, stay with us. I have lots more questions for you. But Captain Gore, if I could just come to you before I thank you. We know what transpired last night, and there is severe amount of international pressure for a ceasefire from both countries, India and Pakistan. Pakistan issued a statement last night saying that, tell India to stop and we will stop as well, pretty much indicating that. Do you sense that a ceasefire could be coming soon? Because like we've been speaking with a host of experts, a war helps none.
Aisha, I will draw your attention to what the defense minister said after their National Security Council meeting. He said that now that if India does not take any action in this Operation Sindoor, we will not do anything. But what did they do? The same night, they sent in the drones in the places, all our places, right from Jammu and Kashmir, from Srinagar till Rajasthan, till Bhuj. Now, that is what they did. So, how can you trust these people? Now, it's been a fact with Pakistan that they try to start something and they'll sitting in their drawing rooms and everything. Even the army thinks that, yes, we've done a great job. But when India gives a beating to them, then suddenly they realize, oh, we have to now look for ceasefire. They have been warned time and again. Now, I'll draw your attention again. You see, if you go down to Kargil, what happened? The same thing happened. When our Prime Minister Vajpayee ji went to Lahore and he and Nawaz Sharif were shaking hands over there, Musharraf had already planned the Kargil inclusion. And then they denied it. But when again they got a beating over there, then they suddenly ran to US to say, okay, now fine, please save us. And then that old habit of theirs of trying to threaten India with a nuclear weapon. Let me be very clear on one thing. See, we are not worried about the nuclear weapon because Pakistan does not have that much of depth. If Pakistan does the mistake of using a nuclear weapon on India, Pakistan will be vanished from this earth because India has the third strike capability, first, second, and third. So Pakistan should think, I think, many times before even giving that statement that, look, we have, like their ministers keep saying that we have, 250 grams of bomb and we have a 500 grams bomb and something like this. And other ministers who keep saying that, look, if the water is stopped, blood will flow. Now, what has happened? We have stopped the water. Our Baglia Dam stopped the water for 4 days. And now again they opened up because of the rains and they've given the water there. Again, they'll stop it. So this control of the Indus Water Treaty and other things, that diplomatic things that have taken place, India wanted that these measures should have been sufficient for Pakistan to get those preparatives of this terrorism to book. But no, they will never do it because the army and the ISI are the ones who have propagated this and who are involved with this. And this has been confirmed by their own generals. General Musharraf said it, the Asif Munir has said it, others have said it, the ministers have said it, their defense minister has also said it, that yes, they have been doing this thing since the time when the Russians came into Afghanistan. So now what it is that India has shown its capability. As regards to China, what Swaminathan ji was saying, I don't agree to that. See, China will never enter this physically. It will never. Why? Because it has a vested interest. If it does, it is the one that is going to be at a loss because the world opinion against China will change. And China today, that it's on such a shaky ground that it's trying to get in its own economy into order, it will never come into this. You see what has happened is the equipment and all also. Turkey is now sending in some equipment to Pakistan. China has not done it. So there is a vast difference between what was, say, 10 years back and what is now today. And the capability that India has shown and the position where India is on the global map, I would say that no country is going to come out and say that fine, India is the one who has started this and India is to be blamed. Everyone knows today that Pakistan is the terror factory. Pakistan has started this. Pakistan is the one who's escalating it. And Pakistan is the one who's going to suffer because India has got that capability. India has got the political will and the Indian public wants a retribution for all that Pakistan has done. You see what they've done? 4 lakh Kashmiri Pandits, they have driven out from the valley. And those people are still not allowed to come into the valley. This is what they have done. And we as a nation are sitting there. In any other nation had this been today, there would have been a big, I would say, demonstrations and things. Here we're sitting with that, 4 lakh of our own people are out of their homes. And we are saying that, okay, now is the time that we should now, give Pakistan again a reprieve. I don't think so. The time has come now that Pakistan must pay for its mistakes for the past 75 years it's done. 1947, 65, 71, Kargil, and the Operation Topak launched by General Ziaul Haq, or 1,000 cuts since 90s. Now is the time that it's a payback time for them. And if they again try something worse, like what they did last night, 8 missiles were shot down here in Jammu itself. If they try this again, let me tell you and let me tell through you, the nation, that India will ensure that Pakistan will never raise its heads again as it is.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you. But Captain Gore, thank you so much for your time today. Great speaking with you and getting those insights. Cameron, I want to come back to you. You can see how charged up and emotional things are out here in India right now. And more importantly, when it comes to India and Pakistan, there are so many other country dynamics. You've got you've got Turkey, you've got the Middle East, you've got China, and you've got the US dynamics as well. For the last 1 month that India has been seeing inflows, it's also been somewhat of a tactical play, India versus China. Do you think that'll completely get reversed now?
I don't. You mentioned sort of the geopolitical complexities and the fact that there are more actors than just India and Pakistan, but the global financial markets have been living with a version of that now for nigh on 3 years. The situation in Ukraine also puts Turkey somewhat close to the action. Russia has gravitated to China for support. Europe and the US are feeding arms to varying degrees into Ukraine. So, intensely as you and your viewers feel the current situation, and it certainly, it's not that it couldn't get worse, but financial markets have been living with, an equally contentious and indeed long-running geopolitical event with some pretty big actors behind the main protagonists. So, as I said earlier, people will certainly be watching, but I think in the short run, frankly, the fact that India's oil bill is going to get much cheaper, that seems to be where it's heading, will provide a pretty heavy counterweight to any geopolitical uncertainty.
Cameron, thank you so much for your time today. I know you've stayed up exceptionally late to be able to join in, but thanks as always for speaking with us.
You're welcome.
Okay.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.